Hello, my friends. Welcome to Cracked with Jarod and Aaron. In episode 13, dang, you guys, I can't believe we've made it this far, episode 13. I'm joined by Aaron Bernardi and Jarod Cruz, who together are Cellar Door Trades. Both Navy veterans who met in Virginia Beach. Aaron is an aircraft mechanic turned woodworker, and Jarod is a stylist turned stained glass artist. They're now married and working together in Savannah, Georgia. Now, spending 24 hours, 7 days a week together would be a lot for any couple. So today, Jarod and Aaron share their tips and advice for any couples aspiring to share studio space successfully. We also chat about Jarod's Domestika experience, where they both draw inspiration, technique, and who takes on what on the business side of things. Who's better at dealing with difficult clients? Who's better with money? Who brings the other one back from the brink of meltdown more? Keep listening to find out. Join me as I crack it all wide open. Hi, guys.
Hey, I'm glad we finally got to do this.
I know. Also, I'm so excited to see two people in frame. I haven't gotten to do two people yet at the same time. This is so cool.
I don't think we take a couple pictures often. Oh, we do. We do. We just don't post them.
No, but I mean for the podcast, I've never interviewed two people.
Oh, got you. Right on.
Yeah. So that's fun. Let's, I guess, just like take turns. Tell me where you're from.
I'm originally from Pennsylvania. My dad was in the military, so we left Pennsylvania when I was like 3. So all over since then.
Okay.
Originally from Michigan.
What part of Michigan?
Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, okay. Very cool. How did you both end up in Savannah, Georgia? And is that where you met?
No, we met in Virginia Beach. Aaron was still enlisted at the time in the Navy. And I had been there for 14 years. I was working as a stylist. Had moved there from California after I got out of the Navy. And we moved to Michigan when he got out. 5 years ago now? 5? Yeah, when Aaron got out of the Navy, and we wanted to be closer to his son, Lucas. And so we moved back to Michigan to like kind of be there for his last few years of high school.
And then we decided we wanted warmer weather, and that's what got us down here to Georgia.
Oh my God, Michigan's beautiful. It's gorgeous. You know, there's so much, natural inspiration there.
Mm-hmm.
But where we lived on the Michigan coastline at this gorgeous little like art community called Saugatuck. It's a great little place, very Norman Rockwell, but it was gray and rainy and cold for 6 months out of the year. And so like I'm not a believer in seasonal depression, but it hit me there. Like you're hunkered down for so long. We went on vacation. We went somewhere warm in June, and when we got back, it was like 40 degrees in Michigan, and we put our house on the market. We're like, Nah.
I didn't know that the middle of the country got like weather that was so cold and gloomy.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan's definitely north. I mean, it's worth 4 hours from Canada, right where we were. So, and we're right on the lake, so you get like lake effect. So it's really, in the wintertime, the temperature flux just makes it cold and snowy and gray, cloud cover.
Yeah. So who started doing stained glass first?
I'm the only one who does stained glass.
Oh.
Aaron's a woodworker.
So he does the wind chimes.
Right. Yep. And that's why we put trades in our name, because we wanted like an old school feel. So when I did glass, he did wood, so trade. And but somewhere along the way, I was like, look at all this glass scrap. And Aaron was like, well, what if I use these to create something, and ended up using them for his chime pieces. So that repurposing, I'm so glad. Especially, what's really weird is here in Georgia, they don't recycle glass. People take it in, but you have to pay to recycle it. So they don't pick it up in your recycle bin.
Oh.
So at least Aaron's using a lot of it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was weird, right?
That is strange.
Yeah.
And so is that how the earrings came about too?
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I'm always creative. I do lots of different things when it comes to art. I've always been just dabbling in arts, whether it's painting or collages or making wooden furniture, just different things. And when I saw all the glass that was being wasted, or just left over in it, I thought it was so beautiful. I decided to start doing, the chimes, and I was like, well, there's still pieces left. And so I started doing like earrings and just trying to use up as much as I can.
So pretty. And
Thank
so,
you.
Jarod, where did you learn how to do stained glass?
I learned a lot from watching my mom growing up. She took a class, and then started just making pieces. I mean, one of the first pieces she made, I remember helping her along the way and just being overly interested in it. And I also grew up Roman Catholic, so it's like, these stained glass windows and just passing time staring at those during mass, and then watching my mom she made this this holly insert for like a curio or like a bench, mirror. What's the entryway? What's it called? Like a mud room. I can't think of it. But she made like an insert for it. Like, yeah.
Like a
It was
transom?
it was a holly piece that was inserted into this piece of furniture, and just was kind of enamored with it, from then on. And then I didn't touch glass for a long time. And when we moved to Michigan, I had quit 14 years as a stylist and was like, I don't really feel like building a new clientele. It just takes so long. And we were in a position where we could start over. And so that's just something that I've always wanted to do outside of just a hobby. And we kind of took a leap. Yeah.
Yeah, we both we're starting new from careers that we had for more than 15 years. And we both just decided, let's do that thing, let's just take a chance. Let's do something we always wanted to do. And we both always have been into arts. And so we just kind of started and learned how to use Instagram.
Oh my God. I was so anti social media. In fact, I don't even have a personal account.
It helps. It works tremendous for getting your products out there.
It's an amazing platform for small biz artists, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So, Jarod, you were a stylist, and Aaron, what did you do before?
I was an aircraft mechanic.
Wow.
I worked on F-18s and P-3s.
Cool.
Like, big deal, right?
Yeah, that's like that's like every little boy's dream, right? Is to
right. And I decided when I got out, I was like, I learned a bunch, while doing that, but I was like, I don't want to do that the rest of my life. That's something I did as like one type of career. I was like, this time I want to do what I want to do. And
yeah. Do you think there's any aspects of that you bring into your woodworking?
One of my favorite things with the military was the amount of travel I've done. I have been all over the world, and definitely with landscapes and the skies I paint on my chimes. I've seen some beautiful things.
Yeah.
So traveling, I think, was a big inspiration.
Yeah. And what about you, Jarod?
From time as a stylist, from that portion of my life, I was a colorist primarily, and so I just from a little kid, just obsession with color and how to combine it. It makes you happy. Color makes you. I don't think any glass artist does glass because they don't love color. That's the main draw for a sparkly, and so that's definitely what I play around with, is my my knowledge of what colors work together.
Well, your colors are beautiful. With your process, do you name a piece? Like, do you start a piece and think this is going to have some Joshua Tree feelings to it and then make it? Or do you make a piece and then do you name it afterwards?
I personally always start with a place in mind.
Mm-hmm.
I just take a second, just close my eyes and think of a place that I've been that brought me happiness, just an escape. I think that's the main reason I do landscapes. And I think back to when I was a kid, and I've always drawn landscapes. It's just always been what I've done. And I think the peripatetic lifestyle of being a military kid, and also just using it as an escape from my personal childhood, it was just always places I wanted to go other than where I was, just constantly dreaming of that. And so I take a second, I close my eyes, I think of a happy place, and then I go with that. That's where I draw the colors from. And if I decide to put a Joshua tree, I'm doing these cute little oaks today, that piece that I'm working on, and that's very Michigan coastline. Yeah, they're super cute.
So cute. And a lot of your pieces are in wooden stands. So I'm assuming Aaron, you
Yeah.
make those?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me what the workshop is like, because if you do you have all this, like, because woodworking creates a lot of dust,
Right.
right? A lot of
Yeah.
sawdust, and then you're doing your thing over here. Like, what's the space? What's the layout?
We have a cute little shop that we're sitting in now, and we do all the glass work. When I do my woodworking, I have like a small jigsaw, and we have like a back porch, and I just sit outside. It's the south, so it's nice out. And I do that part outside, and then I just bring it in and do my painting.
Okay.
So I don't have, for the stands, the same thing. I just use a basic router, and I do that on the back porch at the moment.
Yeah.
Because dust and stained glass don't mix, but it works.
It works. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's actually a good place for me to ask a question from Instagram. It is about process. At Still Robin wants to know, what software design do you use?
Procreate.
Yeah, we both use Procreate.
Okay,
It's
you both do.
on the yep, on the iPad.
Okay, so you would
I'm
suggest
old
that.
fashioned though. I prefer to hand draw, but like if
Right.
I'm playing around with color combos or just a general design, I'll do like a sketch on Procreate. But
Right.
I know a lot of glass artists will then transfer that, using Rasterbator or whatever, and make their template from their Procreate design. But I
Mhm.
just
Jared
I just use
does.
it for idea.
Yeah, Jared draws a lot of his templates by hand. I design most of my stuff digital with Procreate.
Okay. And what kind of, are you using cardstock? In your Instagram stories, when you're doing like process videos, are you cutting your patterns out from cardstock?
Oh, I like watercolor paper.
Oh, watercolor paper.
Yeah, it gets wet and just like bounces back.
Oh,
I
that's a
like
good,
that.
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, watercolor paper, and it's thick.
It's
Yeah,
thick.
it's totally thick and it'll absorb and then just dry out. I mean, I have templates that have lasted me 2 years, that I just,
Interesting.
revisited.
Okay, you're gonna have to tell me what kind you
Yeah,
use,
for
and
sure.
I'll add that to the show notes.
Cool.
For sure.
Tell us what Domestika is.
Domestika is it's a .org. It's an international platform for makers. And they actually just started pushing for a US market. It's mainly in Spain, down Portugal. Um, but they invite artists to come and you make a tutorial, and subscribers to the site are able to go on and watch this entire process. I mean, I wasn't exactly sure how it was going to be put together, but it's so thorough, and it's just kind of, I mean, it was a 4-day process to shoot, and it's literally from how I get my inspiration, how I draw my design and personally, I mean, all the way through little tips and tricks, all the way to like how to display properly. I mean, from beginning to end.
I was really impressed. Like, he spent 4 days with them. I went with them to New York, but I wasn't allowed, behind the scenes or whatever. And so he spent 4 days with them and filmed it. And when I watched the finished video, it's really like a sit down with Jared. They talk about his inspiration, and he walks you through step by step. And in the end, you end up creating a piece that is inspired by like his type of work. They did a really good job.
It's very intimate.
It is.
I like that.
It's a very cool video.
I haven't watched much of it, but
No?
Aaron has. Yeah,
He
he says
doesn't
it's
like to.
good.
It's good. It's
Why
did it-
haven't you watched more of it?
Oh man, I'm sure there's things that I didn't explain right because of nerves, and or maybe stuff that I might have left out, and I don't want to know that. I don't want to, I don't want to pick myself apart. I've watched little snippets of it, but not from beginning to end.
I think it turned out good.
Yeah.
No one likes to watch themselves,
No.
really.
No, no one likes to watch themselves. No one likes to hear themselves.
Right.
Welcome to my
Right.
world.
Yeah.
Right.
So they flew you to New York,
Yeah.
and did they kind of give you an outline of what they wanted to see beforehand?
It was like 6 months of pre-work.
Okay.
Just a lot of like back and forth communications on materials needed, and then outlining and sending pictures, of inspiration or along the way. And there was a lot of buildup. So by the time I got there, there was a very strict outline, to keep them on track and me on track.
It was done very professionally.
Oh man,
like step by step, like, they had them write up like an intro and a storyline, how the process goes.
Yeah, it was all written down first, so they knew exactly what was going to happen because I was their first glass artist, and so they had no idea the process. The funny thing, one of the funniest things to me is they were like, "Send over all your materials so we can purchase them." And I sent them a list of what I need to make a glass piece, and then they're like, "Do you need all of this?" Yes, we need all of it. Are there cheaper versions? Because this is an expensive crap. No, I mean, this is what I mean. I'm giving you baseline, so I ended up having to bring some of mine because they had no idea what goes into making a glass piece. And I thought that was pretty funny. I don't think many people realize the steps it takes for us to make a piece from beginning to end.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very true. I had to make a list similar to that. There was a local craft place in Portland where you could like go, and they had all these different teachers come in and teach different crafts. And they reached out to me, and they were like, I was like, "Do you want me to bring my own stuff?" And they were like, "No, we want this to be like an ongoing thing," same kind of thing where they were like, "Just send us a list." And I was like, "Okay,
All
here we
right.
go." I mean, it took me like a full day to write the list of everything that we needed. So how did this opportunity come about? Did you reach out to them, or did they reach out to you?
So I don't know if I'm sure people have reached out to you on IG about business opportunities, and then it normally boils down to like, if you pay us, well, blah. And so they actually emailed me like 2 or 3 times, and I just deleted the email. And then like they sent me one, and then like the header for it was like, "Please open." So I opened it, and they just kind of laid out that they wanted to work with me, and I ended up talking to their like one of their heads of production in Spain, and told me what the gig was about. And I was so hesitant because I really don't like being on camera. And but he was like, "Listen, this is like, it's posterity, right? Like, that's the name of the game. Like, you can leave your mark that way by teaching and passing along what it takes, to make these pieces, to be in this craft." And I just agreed with it. I agreed with that notion, and so
Yeah.
I jumped on.
So after all the pre-production, you get to New York, the lights turn on, you're in the studio, the crew's all looking at you. There's a bright light right above the camera shining in your face. What was that like?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. It was so far out of my realm of comfort, and when I first got there, I really had no idea because I hadn't seen the set production, and I thought it was going to be a little more intimate than it. Well, there were 3 people that were watching me, but when I first walked in, there were like 14 people doing set design and talking to me about wardrobe, and there's 5 cameras, and they're telling you which. I mean, it was overwhelming, right? And I got up. I really thought I was going to kill it though. And I feel like I did after the first day, but the first day was tough. They want you to explain like every little detail of what you're doing. And I mean, you said that you've educated now. It's a weird thing to do. I don't talk. So for like 2 weeks leading up to it, I was talking out loud, like every little step of my process to prepare myself for this. And even still, like doing it, I felt like I was leaving stuff out. And then there's weird camera angles where you have to like cut from, a foot away, and you can't actually even see where you're cutting so that they can get a good shot. And so it was a lot. It was very like push and pull. And but day 2, I went home. I was like, I don't think they're gonna want to keep me on this. And it's like, I'm sure it's gonna be fine. I was like, seriously, there were times I was just blanking out.
He came home the first night and was a little stressed out. And I felt like I was dropping him off, like, because I would go every morning with him. We'd get a coffee and I'd drop him off at the studio. And, I'm like, today's going to be better. When he got home, he's like, I don't think they're going to finish. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, he thought it was so horrible. But then the next day I went and we had lunch together and
with the crew
and stuff. And they were like, he's doing so much better. Like, he was worried about the video, but they said he was doing a great job. It's just, I think everyone is nervous,
right?
And they think they're doing a bad job, but
I'm a perfectionist, like through and through. If it's not going to be done right, I don't like to do it at all. And so I was super hard on myself. But what it boils down to, and what they said to me, is that every artist, I mean, most of us are behind the scenes. We don't, our art is in the forefront. We don't want to be in front of the camera. And every artist starts the same. The first day is always rough, and then you start to get a little more natural at it. So the next couple of days were fun.
The next couple of days were great.
Did they shoot it in a linear timeline fashion? Like, did you do like the sit down with Jarod first? I actually haven't watched it because I don't know how it worked.
No, it was all kind of jumbled up because of the way that they had to move the set around, things like that. And so like I actually, like, we did the intro last. The last thing was the intro, but we started with like materials and moved on to the piece and then did the intro last. And so it was kind of, but the process itself was all shot in order.
Yeah. It has to be.
Jarod, like before that, he's like, I've never talked it out, like your process, and you had to do it all step by step. As an artist, you just kind of work through it, but when you slow it down,
think about it.
Yeah, like, because they're like, okay, what part do we have to film next? When you slow it down and break it into sections, it kind of helped, I think.
They wanted me to adhere to this script, and they were making me say these super goofy, like cheesy lines, which felt uncomfortable, because there's like one point where they wanted me to like point at the camera and like, handgun it. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do it. It's just not me. And I like had this little like moment with him where I was like, if I'm going to talk about it, at least let me like talk candidly instead of trying to adhere to a script. Because trying to make glass and adhere to a script was, I think that was the roughest part of it.
Right. Yeah.
Aaron, do you think Jarod's a good teacher?
I do.
Has he taught you?
Yeah, he taught me how to cut glass for my chimes. He taught me how to use the grinder, because when I cut my pieces, I grind all the edges so they're rounded or give them shape. I don't know how to do the soldering portion of stained glass. I've never actually tried. But if I wanted to learn, he would teach me.
Yeah, totally. For sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, now you know what you're doing with the second half of your day. You're welcome. I thought it'd be fun to do like a dating game, but you're not dating. It's a spouse game. But then I was trying to think, how could I do this without everybody being able to see you, right? Because normally you like write the answer on a piece of paper and then you hold the piece of paper up. So we're going to try this instead. I'm going to ask a question, and then on the count of three, I'll just do 1, 2, 3 with my fingers like this.
Cool. Yeah.
And then you say the name of the person, because it's like, who's better at this? And then you say your answer at the same time.
Gotcha.
Okay. Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. Some of these questions are not applicable anymore, because when I started this interview, I thought you both did stained glass. So,
okay.
Who is more of a morning person?
Aaron, me.
Okay. That was easy. You guys agreed. Who is better and more patient with difficult clients?
Aaron.
Me.
Aaron. Who brings the other one back from the brink of meltdown more?
Shit, Aaron.
Aaron's running the show over there.
He's behind the scenes keeping it together.
Okay. Who is more responsible with money?
Me, Aaron.
Aaron!
Yeah, give me something.
I know. Okay. Who is the better glass packer? But this is now applicable to like product. Could be wood.
Right. Jarod. Me.
Okay. There you go, Jarod.
Yeah.
Who is more shy?
Jarod. Me.
We're both pretty shy.
Yeah.
But I see more of you, Jarod, on Instagram. Why is that?
Well, you got me. Well, it's primarily my glass, right?
True.
And it was also when it started, it was just my glass. Aaron wasn't really.
I was spending a winter watercoloring.
Right. And also Aaron, he's just not a fan of being on Instagram.
I get that.
Yeah.
Who is better at naming their pieces?
Me.
Okay. Okay, this is the last one because the rest of them don't count anymore. Who is more bossy in the studio?
Jared, me.
Jarod. How does that play out?
I mean, you're getting the vibe here, right? Aaron's got the patience, and I'm the drill instructor. I keep things in
Right.
line.
Jared just has his ways, and I have my ways. I kind of keep things like calmer. We have different energies, but we're very similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah, you kind of balance each other out.
We do, yeah.
We do.
Yeah. Oh, I thought of a new one. Who is a neater person? Like neat, like tidier?
Same.
Both.
Both? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
neat freaks.
I think that that's rare in a couple. I think usually there's one person who's driving that bus. How long have you guys been together?
7 years.
7.
Okay.
Been married for 5.
And how did you meet?
Through a friend, and then we kind of grew online. Like we started communicating. We didn't meet each other for like a month.
I think what a lot of people want to know about is just what it's like working with your partner in the studio, because there has to be a lot of give and take. There has to be a lot of moving around each other, giving each other space when needed, not when needed. Do you have any advice for other couples who have aspirations of working together?
I mean, I would say it's tough. It is. You develop a dance. You do. I mean, I find myself just kind of spinning around him if he's, in the way, especially where we are now, because it's a room as opposed to the garage. But we definitely make it work. Also, you have to listen to each other. I think especially working with 2 different mediums, you want to be the boss.
And you have to truly enjoy who you're working with too. Like, I mean, Jared and I we're best friends. We spend a lot of time with each other, and we both love doing the same thing. So waking up every morning and coming into the studio is like one of our favorite things.
I mean, I think that's the crux of the matter right there. When you're doing something that you love, working with each other is pretty easy. You know what I mean? Like, we're already not like high stress, doing a job that we dislike. So we're already, at that level. My favorite part of working together is that I trust his opinion implicitly. And so if I have a question about a design, or I'm questioning colors or what have you, I can ask his opinion on it. And I 100% love having that sounding board.
Right.
So even though he doesn't do the glass, he has a lot of input, a lot of sway on those designs that I make as well.
That's so nice.
It is. It is. He only drives me crazy like 10% of the time.
That's a pretty good percentage, I think,
It is.
considering the amount of hours that you all spend together in and out of the studio.
For real.
Right. It's our whole relationship has kind of been that way. We've just always, just kind of, I mean, before the shop, we had separate jobs, it was different, but once we started working in the shop together, and we had the extra time, it just felt natural.
Right. Like, he could have let me go to New York by myself to shoot that Domestika video, but why spend time apart?
Yeah. I was like, you can go, but I'd rather be there, if I can. I was hoping I could watch the production. I've always been fascinated with like shooting movies and filming and whatnot, but it was closed. But I still spent the week in New York and had a great time.
Right.
Was this before COVID?
No, it was after COVID.
It was this past June.
Yeah, it was after like
we were vaccinated, and
right. Yeah, we were vaccinated, and the mask, like New York had their Pride that week when we were up there, so like things were starting to let up with COVID.
How fun that you got to go during Pride. How fun.
Yeah, it completely lined up. That was great.
Is Savannah pretty progressive?
It is. Yeah, it is. As a city, it is. You got to think, like, I'd say 60% of the people you see on the street are tourists.
They have SCAD here, so there's lots of art students.
Do you guys have any other hobbies outside of glass? Artistic well, actually, any hobbies?
I play a lot of different musical instruments, not as much now that I do a lot of the wind chimes, but I do have other hobbies like playing music used to be a favorite of mine.
Jarod, you're a cook. You like to cook?
I do love to cook.
He's a really good cook.
Thanks. He really is.
It is very meditative, cooking.
It is. Yeah.
I'm going to switch gears completely. I'm going to go to some questions from Instagram. At glassical.stained.glass wants to know, I don't know if you'll know this answer. How many pieces do you sell annually? That's a tough one.
Oh, you actually did the Wix printout, the platform that we use for our business. Do you know how many annually? I know you know like total.
We sell quite a few,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty busy. I mean, I work 60 hours a week or so in the shop. Like I mean, that's the catch, right? When you love what you do, you just kind of
I mean,
you find yourself consumed by it.
I would say we produce more than a few hundred pieces of art a year for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
That works. I don't know how to say this. I don't want to mess it up. At Kayay Studios, Kayay, wants to know if you have any tips for working with lead came or lead stretcher.
I don't know. My tip is, it's necessary. I don't think most people realize how much you have to stretch lead before using it. It can't be flimsy. So I would say definitely, pull your lead until you feel some resistance. Because otherwise there's no support to it, really. And turn your iron down. I remember when I first started using lead, I would just melt through it because I had it on the same temperature as my solder until I got quicker, and now it's all the same, I guess.
I remember doing that too.
Mhm.
I remember doing that in
What
class.
the hell? Right?
Yeah. Okay, this question actually came in on your end, so I don't know who asked this. How do you cut your concave bits?
I mean, there's two answers depending on how deep that concave in is and how much time I want to spend on it. You can always use a brink saw, right?
Mhm.
But I don't know, there's something kind of meditative, and also, uh, the reward of getting through a deep concave and cutting it by hand is a good thing. It's a solid thing. So it's just a bunch, if you're doing it by hand, it's just a bunch of little curved, following the general line, little curved cuts. I mean, usually you're looking at like maybe 20 cuts for a super deep one. So just kind of hunker down and spend some time chipping away at it.
It is more, I mean, glass
It
cutting is
feels
so
good.
satisfying, but
Yeah.
it is really satisfying when it's like the last one. You have your last little bit, you're about to chip away and you pull on, and you're like, oh, please don't break. What advice do you have for any glass or woodworking artists that are just getting started?
Glass wise, I would say just be patient with yourself. I get a lot of DMs from people who are just starting out in the glass community, and they're frustrated. Why don't my solder lines look right? Why is my patina coming out right? Just generalize, how do your pieces fit? And it's like, it comes. The more time you spend on it with anything, you'll develop, those skills. But it's not easy. I mean, good glass artists have been at it for a minute, and just be gracious with yourself, and allow time to develop those skills.
That's good advice.
Mhm.
Do you have any glass hacks?
Glass hacks.
People dig on these. People love a good glass hack.
A couple, I would say, of my favorites are use a spray bottle with your patina. I would say, a big thing, and I don't know how I can really explain this verbally without showing, but when you design a glass piece, you should design your solder line so you can hang your jump rings from there, right? Stability. But especially with my skies and that floating sun or moon that I like to do, I don't really want to break that sky up. So what I do is on the straight edges, I attach some tin copper wire for my jump ring to the next solder bead for stability so that you don't get that stretch over time. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
To get around the solder line placement.
Yeah. Are you open to people sending you DMs about technical stuff or questions like that?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite tools?
I don't know. I love my grinder, the Techniclass grinder. Nothing's. I do love. I have two of them because a backup is necessary. I love all of them. I don't want to play favorites with my tools, man. I like.
They're
I
all your
was gonna say, I really
children.
love my running pliers, but that's boring as hell. But I do.
Well, actually, I have had this conversation with somebody else about the running pliers, because there's the kind that squeeze down on the ends, and then there's the
Right.
kind that has like the speed bump in the center.
Mhm.
Which
I
kind do
like
you use?
the arts.
Interesting.
I like the speed bump ones when I break them.
Yeah.
For the triangles.
Mm.
Okay. That's like one of those questions like, what color is this dress? What do you see in this photo?
Right.
Do you guys have any favorite artists?
I mean, yeah, 100%. My number one has always been Ted Harrison.
Okay, tell me more about him.
Um, I talked for a moment about like when I was growing up, like an escape from my childhood reality. And I remember, being a military kid, your friends are constantly coming and going, but my father was a drill instructor. And so we stayed still. And so my friends were constantly moving away. And there were times I was super lonely. And so I would go and just spend time in the library after school because I didn't have much else to do. And I remember sitting there and our librarian having this Ted Harrison print. And he's a landscape artist. And it's just wildly colorful and super whimsical. And his focus is on the Canadian countryside and culture in Canada, especially the Indigenous people population. And it's just like dreamscapes. And I remember like drawing landscapes because of that. And it's definitely what has influenced me, his use of color. He's it's super pared down. And he remember him getting this critique one time that called his work childish, and he said, I don't see anything wrong with that. Who doesn't want to see the world through child's eyes? And just got goosebumps saying that. I love that. So by far and far my favorite artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he still alive?
No, he's not with us any longer.
Okay.
Yeah. But look into it if you're not familiar.
His books.
Check his right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, easily Googleable.
Yes, I'm going to definitely look them up. I'm definitely going to look him up when we're finished. And I also always include links to these artists in my show notes as well, so that people can
Right on.
dig in and go down a real rabbit hole if they want to.
Yeah.
What about
Right.
you, Aaron? Any favorite artists for you?
Like Instagram artists or just
Doesn't have to
artists?
be. It can be.
Oh, I don't know. I really draw all my inspiration and stuff just from things that I've seen. I mean, I'm inspired by the world around me and other artists, but I don't know if I have anyone specific really.
Okay. That's a fair answer. I actually did have one question earlier that I didn't ask. When you do your floating moons, do you use the detachable ring saw attachment?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Took me forever to figure that out.
Yeah.
For a moment, I was literally like Dremel drill bitting the entire thing out, going through like tons of bits, trying to get. And it's a lot of glass to chip away, right?
Yeah.
And then I just was googling how, there's got to be something.
Yeah.
And stumbled upon that separating blade.
Yeah. That separating blade is amazing.
So
the way
much.
that I have done it in the past, and it's probably not the most efficient way, so I want to check in with you to see what you're doing. But
Gotcha.
I have a tub of water, and then I have a little slice of a 2x4 inside the tub of water. And then I do drill a hole in the glass with a
First.
drill bit, with
Right.
a Dremel, and then I attach the
Right.
the ring saw through. Is that what you do too?
Aaron does that. He uses the wood
Yeah.
hack when he does his chime pieces. I just hold mine in the basin of my ring saw.
What do you mean?
I did.
Oh, in the
Hold it in the cold water. Yeah.
I push it against the wood like you do though. Just so then, because I've done it a couple times when I was drilling like my chime pieces where you slip too fast or something, it would break your piece. So
Yeah.
I push right against the wood as well.
My little hack for that is to kind of go in small circles, like move it around in circles while you're doing it instead of straight through. It slows it down a little bit, and I don't really burst through it.
Sounds like we're pretty similar. I was hoping you would have
Yeah.
some like other thing where you're like, what are you doing? You got to do it
Right.
like this.
No, I don't. Yeah, there's pretty much just one way to do that.
Right.
What are your 5 to 10 year goals? And I want to hear from you separately on this.
Go ahead.
This is Aaron, everybody. Aaron is going to speak first.
All right. 5 to 10-year goals. Traveling. There's a few big locations that we want to go to. I'd like to do like a South Africa. I'd like to do a Europe trip. A couple islands that we still want to go to. I don't know. I guess just those are my only.
Aaron is a simple man.
I'm very simple. I'm not worried about much. Like,
No, it's good. You guys are living like a real life of leisure. You just wake up, do a little wood,
It's a
cook
dream.
a little bit, and then,
Yeah.
maybe come in
Do
for
it
the
again.
studio, maybe not.
Right.
I mean, that's seriously how it is. Sometimes we remind ourselves, this is our routine.
We're
Yeah.
right. We're lucky.
We're lucky.
For
We're
sure.
blessed. Yeah.
Yeah. Aaron, do you have any professional goals?
Aaron is taken care of from the military. He's retired. And so
Okay.
the business is literally, I don't, if you're familiar with our feed, Aaron just kind of makes chimes when he wants to make them. And sometimes you won't see him for weeks. And sometimes he, gets on a kick. He does this because he loves it. It's not, there's really no goal for him. He's just making art because he said he took it. Oh my God, 2 winters ago, he spent an entire winter just watercoloring. That's just what he wanted to do. He didn't sell them, just took a break from making wood and watercolored instead. And I love that about him. I tend to hyper focus, and Aaron's like, this is what makes me happy. An artist, we were discussing kind of the stress of a business and not wanting to get burnt out doing something that you love. And she's like, you have to do a personal artist retreat. What is that? And she said, I go off into the woods. It's working with a medium other than your own, just for you, not a class. You can take a class. She says, I personally go out into the woods and I build little stick huts, like little miniature dioramas, like with the elements around me, right? It's not what she does, but she's like, it's just a break so that you're not constantly trying to tap this creativity in your own medium, and kind of refreshing, and so I did kind of the same. And that's when I started using the trees and the overlays and things like that. Was playing around with other mediums and trying to incorporate that. And I think it's a must. But Aaron does that. He's constantly
I constantly will be working on chimes, and then the next thing you know, I'm making like a new batch of earrings or a random collection of brooches. I decided I wanted to make
handmade brooches, right?
I mean, I have these ideas in my head and I start making stuff, and I do what I enjoy. I don't want to stick to one thing. My chimes are my main thing, but I'm always creating other things.
I think that if you were to ask Aaron the main thing he wants from the business, I mean, I would say probably for him, at least what he's mentioned to me, is that, I don't know, just to be able to continue doing what we love doing and having it make people happy.
Right. I want your glass to have a platform to be able to sell. I want people to be able to, purchase your art, and
I mean, that's what it boils down to, right? It was never supposed to be this big. I was totally happy selling in some local art shops. And then I got on Instagram and I had no idea that, I wasn't even familiar with the stained glass community on Instagram, or what was possible as a glass artist. I didn't know people love glass so much, and it just kind of blew up, and I got kind of carried away with it, and now I'm working 7 days a week,
right.
Trying to find time to take breaks. Aaron, you tell me to take breaks all the time.
And we do.
I've gotten better at it.
Well, I don't know if you guys heard my episode with Sarah Fitzpatrick, Which Way Glasgow?
Which Way? Gotcha. Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
We were talking about, she was really talking about the energy that you put into your work, and
for sure,
don't make Christmas trees, even though you hate making these Christmas trees because you think it'll sell. Right. People will pick up on that energy. And right. I think, Aaron, that the fact that you love your work so much, I think that we can feel that. And that's why they're so popular.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. It feels good to make work without a gun to your head.
Right, it does. And I mean, I love that people love to purchase art, like I love that they buy art, and I love that they show pictures of it hanging in their homes and it makes them happy, because truly that's what matters is, we want to create something that makes somebody happy.
Yeah. Who was I speaking with? Oh, Hannah Gregory. One of the things that she mentions that I had never thought about, which is so obvious, is that the work that we make will outlive us.
Right. We've
It's a great
discussed
thought.
that a few times. Like, do you ever think, you see like stained glass pieces at antique shops? We're just like out and about, you see these, and it's like, it's crazy to think that that's going to be around.
One of my favorite things to do is like, through our sales app, we use Wix to design our website and whatnot, but I like looking at the map section and seeing where all of our sales have been. Especially now that we've opened like the international orders, we've had a couple international sales, but seeing that map and knowing like each dot you see on the map is
A piece of ours,
a piece of our art. And 20 years ago you wouldn't get that kind of reach with craft shows and stuff, but with Instagram, it's given us a worldwide reach, which is amazing.
I totally agree with you. What's the furthest you've sent a piece?
We've had Australia and Vietnam. Yeah, we do a lot to Canada, but that's not Australia. Right. It's not as far. I don't worry about the Canadian. Oh my God, shipping. I stress over international shipping, but I don't know. I haven't heard negative feedback from the people, so I'm assuming it got there okay.
Okay, Jarod, what are your 5 to 10 year goals?
I hope that there's longevity, in this platform, and I just hope that 5-10 years from now, I'm still making glass and it's still making people happy, and I'm still able to spend my life doing it. I would like to educate a little more, I think. I didn't think I was going to be as into it as I am. I just kind of like to be in my own little world, and there's something about, since people have reached out to me via Domestika telling me how happy they are because they've always wanted to do glass and now they've made a piece from beginning to end. And it's like, man, if you can share that happiness, I know how geeked out I get over glass. So if I can share that with somebody else, I mean, why wouldn't I? But I don't know. We've had people reach out if we needed, people to help us cut, because we do produce a lot. And if we needed people to help us cut or pack or basically taking on an employee, and we just don't want it to be that big. It was never supposed to be. And we just enjoy the two of us in the shop making what we love, and other people loving it as well. I just don't think I would want that kind of chaos. To me, that's what it would feel like.
I can see how that would be really difficult with your specific situation, because you are a couple and your studio is an extension of your home.
Right.
So to bring a new person
Inviting
into
someone
that would
in.
be,
Right. Even mention of like having a studio space or a storefront or something, it's like, I don't think we want all that. It's just too much of a hassle. It works the way we have it going right now.
Right. It's also, I think, one thing that I want to do soon, and I'm actually talking to somebody in Atlanta about this because he works with the art community in Midtown in particular, is I want to get back into doing larger installation pieces. I'm really big on accessible art right now, getting glass into people's homes who appreciate it, but I'd like to do something a little more conceptual on a larger scale for the city itself. So I'm going to put that into the works here soon. Yeah, just put it out there.
Have you done big pieces like that before?
I have. I've done conceptual pieces before, and I've done some larger lead windows, but it's been a while.
Aaron touched on some personal goals and professional goals. You led with professional. Do you have any personal goals you'd like to share with us?
Personal goals. I mentioned like being gracious with yourself as an artist and allowing yourself to kind of develop. And I think I'm doing that personally as well. I'm very tight knit. And as I get older, I'm realizing that personal, like self-care, how necessary self-care is. And so I put a lot into that personally recently, is trying to let go and relax. And, like I said, I led with the professional, because that's the kind of person I am, and I want to find our forever home. I want to settle down. I mean, we've moved 7 times in the past 7 years we've been together. And so I'd
Wow.
really like to put down roots, find a home, stay there, relax a little bit, love Aaron.
Why do you guys think you've moved so much in the last 7 years? Has it been like a different reason every time, or is there like is there a,
Necessity.
yeah,
Necessity.
Right. Well, the first big reason was, moving back to see our son in Michigan, and
right.
I think there were 3 places in Virginia.
right.
Yeah. Just necessity with the military, and then out of the military and trying to find a place in Michigan, and
Yeah.
then wanting someplace warmer. Yeah, just necessity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, I think having moved around for both of us so much in our lifetime, it's not difficult for us to do. We've done it, so it's not like we grow super attached to a place. You just get up and move.
Right. The last home, I mean, we purchased our last home and we were there for just about 2 years, and it just didn't have what we were looking for. And, we realized that the seasons up there, I remember, because I'm from Michigan originally, I remember growing up there and, the winters being long. And I remember joining the military. And once I got into states where there was sunshine, I was like, okay, I see, that seasonal depression's a thing. And once we went back there and moved there, once winter start hitting you, you realize that it's real. And, we're like, let's move to the South. Let's move somewhere warmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're in a position where we can do it, right? Like, if you're not feeling it, change your surroundings. Necessary.
Yeah, you can always change again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a pain. Packing
It
is a real
is.
pain. Moving glass.
It's such a headache. I was surprised I didn't break near, and we drove from Michigan with my glass. And I'm surprised how few glass pieces broke on that drive from Michigan to Georgia.
Oh my God, that was such a long trip.
Oh my God, crazy.
How
But
did, how did you pack it?
In a 24-foot U-Haul, and then we had our car behind that,
my
but
glass was in the back.
his
of the
glass was laying in the back of our vehicle.
sheets in between packing blankets.
Yeah.
Car, nothing else around it.
So
Yeah.
they lied flat. Only 1 or 2 pieces were cracked, I think.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was being towed behind a U-Haul, so it was bouncing all over, and we had to go through what mountains were those that we? The Smoky Mountains. Like, it was a very traumatic trip.
Oh my God, it was a mess. Our first stop, when we were like pushing, you want to get as far as you can before you call it a day. Less driving the next day. And we stopped at this like seedy motel. It was the only place that we could find. And we got out and I go look at the place and there's like cigarette burns in the comforter. And I was like, no, this is no good. We're gonna find something else. I know we're tired. I mean, you're strung out from the drive.
Right.
And Aaron drives in, the like walkway as you walk, he like hits it with the top of the U-Haul and the owners come out. I mean, it just to make a long trip longer.
Right. The U-Haul was too tall and he's like, pull through like the front.
So you did.
So I like hit the top of it, and then it was this whole backup trying to unhook the trailer situation. We're tired,
Road trips.
but we made it.
Yeah.
It can never be easy. It can
No.
never.
It
just
never,
be
it never
easy.
goes smooth.
No. And the things that go wrong are always the things that you're like, well, did not think
See
that
that
was on
coming.
the list of possibilities.
Right. Am I in a movie or something? What happened?
Yeah. Am I being punked?
Right.
Okay. Final question. Who would you guys like to nominate to be on the podcast?
I have a question. You only do glass artists, right?
Right.
For this one, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Hannah from Badass.
Yeah.
She's great. I adore her.
Hannah
She's
from
already
Bad-
on. She is. I
Right.
am in editing right now.
Good call.
Good.
call.
Good.
I love Lena from Hello Alina.
Oh, I don't know that one.
She does the really intricate butterflies. Look her up. She's amazing. Just super detailed and colorful. She definitely has a style around, and she plays around with layering as well recently, putting glass onto clear background so the image is just kind of floating without a frame. Very cool.
What's something that you want everybody to know about you that they don't know?
It's a loaded question. Something about me. mean, I guess I've disclosed along the way that I'm super neurotic and very. I only wear black. That's
Really?
the only color that I mean, I could show you a picture of my closet. It's straight, just black.
It's true. His whole closet is black.
Maybe some white. But it's funny. It's like I like used all my color in glass. I don't wear
That is so interesting.
no color in my clothes at all.
Like, we're not joking. Like, he won't even wear blue or dark blue.
Just black.
Just black.
It's simple. Plus, it's a saturation of all colors, and I kind of like that concept.
Right.
Right.
Okay. I'm trying to. What's that guy's name that only wears the turtleneck?
Who what?
Is it Bill Gates?
What about
That's
you?
quirky and fun.
Something about me.
He plays the bagpipes.
Oh.
That's fun. And the didgeridoo.
I mean, I don't play the bagpipes. I own a lot of instruments. I can make sounds with them, but
Bagpipes are hard. That's like
Yeah.
a very specific skill set in terms of you can't just pick it up and strum it, you know?
I don't know, man. Not to belittle the talent it takes to play the bagpipes, but he's played the bagpipes for me, and they sound exactly like someone who knows what they're doing playing the bagpipes.
Really?
So, I don't know if bagpipes just sound the same regardless.
I mean, if you get them to like start doing their like
Bagpiping.
drone sounds, like they sound haunting and they sound good.
Yeah.
But,
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. Yes.
Yeah.
he did.
Not
work
Bill
for-
Gates.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't even close.
Close. Yeah, both tech, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it to you.
Okay.
I guess something about me that I could say that most people don't know is that I volunteered when I was in the military, and I spent a year in Iraq with boots on the ground with the army.
Wow.
He wasn't sent. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he's a hero. He volunteered to go.
Because on top of my normal job as an airframe mechanic, during Operation Iraqi Freedom, they were short people over there, and so they asked for volunteers, and so I basically spent a year and a half with the army, helping out over there. So
Thank you for your service. Both of you, thank you for your service. Well, guys, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for joining
Yeah.
me.
Appreciate it.
yeah, thanks for having us on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, have a wonderful and productive day in the studio today.
Likewise.
And I'll talk to you guys soon, okay?
All right. Be well. Bye.
Bye. To see more of Jarod and Aaron's work, their Instagram is at Cellar Door Trades. That's CELLARDOORTRADES. And mine is at Runa Glassworks. Next week, we will take a short break from speaking with an artist to speak instead with Nicole Swartz from Sprout Law. She's a lawyer who specializes in copyright and trademark. I actually planned on releasing this episode further down the road, closer to the end of season 1, but after recording our chat, I decided the information she shared is just too valuable to keep to myself for that long, so I changed the episode release schedule around to get it to you as soon as possible. What happens if another artist steals your design? What about a huge corporation? Do watermarks actually do anything? And when is fan art okay? All these questions and more are answered, so make sure you're subscribed wherever you're listening and have notifications turned on. It's not one to be missed, and it actually could save your business. That's it for today. I'll talk to you soon.